Hi, today is Tuesday. I'm Jim here for The Rough Cuts, and today's film is Christine. Now, this is continuing the series of videos I'm doing of John Carpenter movies. John Carpenter made this right after The Thing. The Thing bombed pretty bad. This was the only film that was offered to him at the time. He publicly stated that's pretty much the only reason he did it. What Christine is about, it's about a haunted car. A car that has an evil spirit in it, and this teenage nerd Arnie buys it. And kind of around the time he'd be seeking independence from his parents, so it's kind of a nice independence analogy. He finds this like in a backyard somewhere, and he's always being picked on and like beat up, and he had a knife pulled on him by a bully. His life sucks basically, and then he gets this car and he has a lot of pride in it, and it's all crapped up when he buys it. He buys it for way too much. According to his best friend, he buys it for way too much. And then he gets it, he fixes it up, and he starts getting kind of weirder and creepier, and it's like the car kind of like is making him bad as well. And he stops hanging out with his friends and spending time with his parents. He becomes more and more antisocial because of this car. The intensity of the fight at the beginning between when the bully in shop class pulls a knife on him and like messes with his lunch. His friend who plays football tries to step in. They're playing that scene rather straight, but then as you get into the movie, the scene where his football player friend is watching him make out with the girl that he liked, the way that's edited is just incredible, because it's just like, it's so creepy, and you get kind of wrapped up in watching them make out, because it's just like the way he's peering at them and stuff. It kind of like, it fascinates you as a viewer. Carpenter has a hypnotic quality about his movies, and I think a lot of the sequences in this film really like draw you in. You could always tell when the car was responsible for something. He would always like make it pretty evident and clear that the car or the spirit within the car did this, and I really like how he directed it. And it's kind of, I think, the only thing holding this movie back from considered a classic like, you know, Escape from New York, Halloween, The Fog, Assault on Precinct 13, and The Thing, is that it's about a stupid haunted car. You know, I really like the score. It's, you know, kind of very like Halloween kind of score. This is only 1983, so it hasn't been that long since Halloween. This is actually, it's kind of interesting. The Stephen King book came out in April and this movie came out in December, because before the book came out, it was already in production. Because Stephen King was so popular, they thought it would be a hit. And it was a modest success. It wasn't a bomb, and it helped Carpenter out. I like kind of the analogy of independence with getting the car, and like how his parents don't really, nobody wants him to have the car, but his parents won't even let him park it in their garage, so he has to go to a do-it-yourself garage and fix it up and keep it there. Part of me thinks part of this movie is showing kind of from a small town suburban perspective how independence is scary and how it's kind of horrifying in a way. Christine as a villain is just as spooky as Jason and Freddy and Mike Myers, for example. I mean, he reminds me of Mike Myers, the way John Carpenter shot the car. I think it shows how talented he is as a director, that he can make an inanimate object so freaky, and sometimes, you know, translate what it's feeling just by moving the camera just slightly after something horrible or horrific has happened. The thing I think about Carpenter, and it's the same thing I think about Spielberg, is that they take a B-movie concept and direct it like they're an A director. This movie puts that theory to the test, is that you can elevate that somehow to be an A movie, like Raiders is, like Halloween, like Jaws, like, you know, The Fog. But then you look at this movie and it's kind of like, how far can you elevate a concept if the concept is kind of dumb? And in Christine's case, you know, I think Carpenter did the best he possibly could to do it, and I don't think the problem with this movie is him. It's the book that he had to adapt is the problem. Thank you very much for watching, Rough Cut viewers, and I will be back next Tuesday. Subscribe to The Rough Cuts if you haven't already. Subscribe to my main channel, which is in the info box below. Follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, and potentially VHX. And follow Earl Bear at Holloway's Tumblr, who does the picture at the beginning and the end of this video.